How you doing? Something been bothering me a lot. I saw a cartoon on Facebook lately, and the cartoon was a depiction of evidence, stacks of evidence papers, and GOP with their head dug like an ostrich into the ground. Now, I'm hoping that people keep in mind that they need to be praying for the whole scenario of what goes on in our country. Specifically, is that there's always another point of view, another perspective, another idea that you might want to entertain that might sort of explain stuff and sort of help to give some insights about what someone else might be thinking. Now, you figure, I figure that um, whatever trial that they needed to have needed not be at the White House, the crime scene. I tell you the truth, it's just then some of the victims were there and some of the co-conspirators or accomplices were there. So it's like you're having a trial with co-conspirators and accomplices and victims, and it's going to get heated. And it's not going to be impartial. It's not, I don't think it's right, even if it's written in the Constitution that it may be like that, but you have a right to rewrite the Constitution too. So come up with new legislation and not necessarily stick to something, because I don't think they envisioned so much that what happened the way it did at the White House. Now, then you have other, it's a level of compassion. If you have victims there, you don't call victims at a trial cowards. That's my take on it. Cowards because you didn't vote for such and such. It's hard to go ahead and call someone a coward when people almost got killed. The vice president almost got lynched. There was guns, sprays, everything. And then there's so like poor little Frankenstein seeing the pitch mob, the mob with the pitchforks and the what do you call it, the torches, and then he comes out, instead of being himself, he comes out in a little Bo Peep dress or looking like Dorothy from Kansas because he doesn't want to get killed. So what I'm saying is that there's some understanding that you might want to think about, is that maybe it's not cowardice, but it's genuine fear for your life. That's it. There's people, this country at one time was totally dominated by a certain race of people who contained all the wealth and so forth. They sort of have divested in that the coastal cities now are mixed for the most part, and the inner part of the country, the landowners are basically still the same old game, same old people. But what you end up happening is this, part of the analysis of this outcome election was, hey, look, did he garner all the supporters and there just wasn't enough supporters to make the difference? Or did some of his supporters abandon him? And so that's why, the outcome was what it was. Either way, it's very significant in that the most thing that I need to get across is prayer and try to think about it from the other side. Mitch McConnell, he says there's hope in possibly in criminal charges or whatever the case may be. But when I saw, for example, the inauguration, I just saw a bunch of old white folk. And I looked at all them steps. I'm like, dude, they don't need to be going up and down them steps. You might have an accident with them old folk up in there. You might want to put ramps out there, dude. But they made it, no one fell, so not that I saw. But it's just, reality is that if you have an older person who's got to go back home and go to the grocery store, and you have young bucks with guns and knives and ready to spit on you and hit you. I mean, that's a reality for legislators. I mean, they didn't have the trial someplace else neutral. They didn't have other people as the jurors, so to speak. Lottery system, whatever. But most importantly is that you have scared people there, victims who are fearing for their life, and you didn't have an anonymous vote. You could have had an anonymous vote. Just close the session, says we're going to vote now. So people would be able to dismiss at least part of the fear. It's my 2 cents. I mean, but my biggest thing is the call for prayer, and instead of some of them are calling name calling, cowards, idiots, whatever. It's just bad, dude. I just don't see it like that. I see it like, hey, look, what would I do if I knew that there's a legitimate hostile folk with some legitimate arms who know where I live, and I have to go home at the end of the day. So it's like the mafia stories where the mafia boss is on trial, and then he gives the witness the little sign that he ain't gonna live long. I guess if they went ahead and put Trump to jail first, it would be a different story. I'm sure everybody would have voted different, or possibly. But you just can't do that under threat. I mean, it's just the reality, dude. It's just reality. So I just wanted to share that with you. And mob bosses and mob rules, there's fear. And I'm not saying justifies everything. I'm not saying there's a few that stood up. The other thing is this, for example, they went ahead and give a medal to someone, that officer that bought enough time to get people out in safety. That's great, that's awesome, but then it shows you when you go out to the hall to go take a pee, doors are broken down, things are on with wood and glass broken, all that. That's just crime scene, dude. I don't know, dude. Someone just didn't use their head. A lot of people didn't use their head, and then there's always the end bottom line is this, is that these Pelosi, Schumers, they rush stuff through, then the evidence come and they can't use it no more because they went ahead and rushed the stuff. It's like, that's just idiotic to me. I don't know. I'm sorry, dude. You never wait enough time to properly compose your case, but then you go ahead and do that stuff. God bless. I hope you're praying. That's all I'm saying. Pray for them, both sides, everybody. So pray for healing. That's all I'm saying. It's not necessarily a political commentary that I want to go ahead and have, but I want to have a call to contemplate, to think, and pray. God bless.